And we are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this week's Empire Building Mastermind Hangout. And if you're watching from the Google Plus page, I posted a link below so you can click on that link and join on the inside. And I can't wait to get started because this week we're talking about masterminding for luminaries. So if you're a luminary or you think you are a luminary, you're going to want to participate in this because masterminding for luminaries is a little different than masterminding for marketing or masterminding for a specific result. So join us, and I cannot wait to get started with today's Empire Building Mastermind Hangout. And just to give you that little quick overview of what Empire Building is all about and who I am and why should you care to watch this hangout. My name is Dawn Nocera, and I am a business coach, and I help people, excuse me, I help people define and find their offers and really dial it in to discover what is their transformation and how to offer that transformation to the world around them and to their target market and their target audience. So that's what I do. That's who I am. You can find me at dawnnocera.com. You can find more information about this hangout on empirebuildinghangout.com. And so empire building is about just making sure you start with that easy and effortless mindset. And that is all about creating a business that's based on who you are. And it's based on listening to your internal guidance system more than you're going to listen to the outside world or what you think you should be doing. So that's what empire building is about, and we're going to get started. I can't wait to get some of you in here. I'm going to start adding you, so if you're not clicking on the link on the outside, I'll just pop you in here. So maybe let's see. There's somebody, yay! Woo! Is that you, Andrea? Okay, so Andrea's on. She's got a little buzzing going on in the background. And Mark, hi Mark. Hi Andrea.
Good morning.
Good morning. Wow, that is some crazy noise. I think that's you, Andrea. I'm going to mute you and see if I can. Yeah, that worked.
Nice.
I think that worked. What was it?
Master technician.
That was a high-pitched noise this morning. So, hey, how you doing? How you doing, Mark?
Good.
Yay!
Lively, bushy tail.
Yeah.
Bushy hair. Tiebreaker.
Bushy beard.
We went to the pageants and the Masters last night in Laguna Beach.
Oh, nice.
Very exciting. Do you know what that is, you guys?
No, I don't know.
I think it's the 28th year, and there's an outdoor amphitheater, beautiful staging. They create for about 2 hours with an intermission masterworks of art with real people in them, and you can't tell the difference. It's a combination of, they have a background, and then they dress the people exactly as they are in the paintings. And it's just remarkable. And they don't move the whole time they're up there.
Wow.
And then a plot line that ties the whole thing together. It's really, really quite remarkable.
What's this called? What's it called?
The Pageant of the Masters.
Oh, wow.
And it's pretty remarkable. Last night was the Art of the Detectives. They did some very clever stuff.
That is exciting.
I would hold up my finger puppet that I bought of Sherlock Holmes, but it's also a kitchen refrigerator magnet.
Oh.
Downstairs on my refrigerator. I'll remember to bring stuff for show and tell next time.
Yeah, great. I love that. I'm really immersed in art right now, understanding how important it is for creative expression and, just really helping us activate our creativity in many, many more ways than what we could ever imagine. So, the recesses of our mind become activated when we are doing creative expression and appreciating what we're doing. So,
Oh.
loving it.
I love the fact that once again I'm looking for my preset and it's not there again. That's interesting. All right then.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There it is. Well,
just my name, but I actually have made like 3 or 4 different presets, and each time I go on, it's like, oh, will they be there or not? Even though I saved them.
oh, wow.
Big deal. Small stuff.
Well, great. Well, we are all here together. And Andrea, if you want to talk, you're going to have to let me know, because I have you muted because of there was a really high pitched noise coming from the background from you, and we're going to get started. I don't know, but we're talking about masterminding for luminaries, and I was just wondering, do you guys consider yourself luminaries? That's like the greatest question in the world is, do you consider yourself a luminary? Do you even know what a luminary is?
You light up my life.
Yeah.
Luminously.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
There we go.
Open-ended questions could be very dangerous on our mastermind hangout here. So they weren't even open-ended, the yes or no questions. What do you think a luminary is? How's that?
Yeah.
What do you think a luminary is? Because this is really, because what I'm finding is there's so many different ways to mastermind, and one of the, and I just started doing this within the last year, masterminding as a luminary with other luminaries, and it takes a totally, it's different than masterminding with that specific purpose. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today, because, first of all, I think we're all luminaries. If we're adding light and adding, helping people see the light of what is missing in their business, or helping people get to where they want to go, if we're helping, light up the path to get somebody to get where they're going, we're a luminary. And it doesn't matter if you are doing it as, a hardcore business person who only focuses on the real world, 3-dimensional world, or if you're in the spiritual world of, healing, or you've got so many other different, realms out there. If you're helping somebody see the path to where they're going and helping them get there, then I consider you a luminary. But it even goes a little deeper. When I'm thinking of luminaries, I'm thinking of people who really are looking for deeper consciousness and deeper meaning to the work that they're doing and to what they are showing their clients and how they're helping their clients. So that's my definition of luminary. So after I just gave you my definition, I'll ask the question, do you think you're a luminary? Raise your hand. Are you a luminary? Yes. Mark, you're a luminary. Hi, Kathy.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yay! My technology's still working.
Yay! It's so exciting when it actually works when you come in.
I know.
So the question, I just posed what my definition of a luminary is, and I was just saying that it's anybody who helps somebody see the light and show other people the path to where they're going, help them see that path to where the client or the prospect or whoever you're working with really wants to go. Whether it's a big corporation, a business, small, an individual, it doesn't matter. If you're helping illuminate that path, then you're a luminary. Kind of like the luminaries at Christmas or during the holidays where they put the candles around the path. So my question is, do you think you're a luminary? And even if you're not quite sure what path you're illuminating, the question is, are you bringing higher consciousness and higher awareness to what's going on somebody's path? Yes or no? Yes, Kathy's shaking her
Yes.
head. Yes, thank you.
Yes,
One,
I
I've got
think
one
I'm
luminary in the group.
luminary.
No, Mark raised his hand too. Yay!
I'm still diddling with my logo and all that.
Okay.
Yes.
What about you, Cameron? You feel like you're a luminary?
Somewhat.
Yeah? I think you've got a lot of light inside of you. A lot
Okay.
of bringing that consciousness, that higher level of thought to what you're doing. And I definitely think that you're a luminary. So I'm going to say yes to that. Whether or not you want to label yourself a luminary or not, I'm going to put a little, hashtag, yes, Cameron's a luminary next to you.
We invite you to the possibility, Cameron, that you might be a luminary.
Thank you.
Yay! What about you, Andrea? What are you thinking today? Are you feeling your luminariness? I see you.
I can hear you.
Oh, you know what? I can't hear her. I might have. Let me check to make sure I've got her unmuted. Where are you? Oops. Yeah, that's that noise from Andrea. Andrea, there's a crazy noise. It sounds like that when I turn your microphone up. So I don't know if you can type in what your thoughts are about being a luminary. I think maybe that will work. But I can see you. I'm just going to keep your thing muted. We can keep trying to move it up, but oh, nope, it's still there. Can anyone else hear that noise?
I can hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
High pitch.
piercing.
Yes, I can hear it.
It's piercing.
You couldn't
That's
hear her
affirmative.
talking, Don?
Not at all. I couldn't hear her talking at all.
I could hear her.
You could hear her talking?
I could hear her talking.
Oh, well, maybe you could translate because I was not able to hear it at all.
I'll be your translator today, Andrea.
Yeah, you might
I'll
have
relay
to.
the messages.
We just dove right in today.
We didn't cover what empire building is about.
You know what? I just kind of went over the first part, the E for empire building, and I can go through it really quick again. But the E is for that effortlessness that we bring to the world. It's like knowing what it is that you're doing. It's about connecting to your intuition, always going back to yourself first before doing things that you think you should be doing because the world tells you, or because even a mentor or a coach. If you're following that easy and effortless path, you're being drawn to the right people at the right time, and your path goes quickly and effortlessly, and you're not constantly, searching for the answer to try to fix yourself or fix your business. You recognize that your intuition is bringing you to that answer, and also within that, you're understanding that it's so much easier than you think. That's really important, that, building an empire, and it's really an inner and outer empire. It's getting that mental game together so you can work in harmony with your business as opposed to feeling like you're in duality all the time, which happens a lot for business people, thinking that you have to do this or this instead of looking at it as in, wow, what if I do this and this? And that's an amazing possibility and that frees up so much energy for a lot of people. But, empire building starts out with the whole mindset of possibilities. It really is about how you want to create your life. It's not about how you think you should live your life. If you want to work one day a week and make as much money as you can that one day and serve as many people in that one day, then that's what you get to do, because it's your empire. You get to design your life based on what you want, not based on what society or your parents think would be a great idea for you. Then as you go through that, getting that mindset straight and understanding that you have a direction that you're going based on your desires. What is your business? How do you want it to fit into your life, and how do you want it to support you in your, fulfillment and your life purpose? Then you go through, okay, I have got an offer. So the M is about making a meaningful offer. And that is, that's my specialty, is helping people discover what their offer is and what transformation that they really want to offer the world. it's hard for most people to do this for themselves, I think.
Yeah,
I'm not the only person that has struggled with it, but I can figure out, very easily, like, many different offers. And there's an abundance of different things that people can do in their business. I mean, I've seen it happen so many times, not just for me, but for other people, that it really comes down to, after you make a meaningful offer, you define what that offer is and what the meaning it has and value that it has for you, connecting and preparing to profit by getting that offer in front of the people that are willing and ready to accept the transformation that you have to give. So that's the marketing piece. That P, preparing to profit, is really about marketing and magnetizing yourself so you're attractive to the people that you want to serve. Yeah, that's so much better than, and a lot of people, and I did this kind of backwards, and a lot of my mentors had talked to me about, do the marketing first and then make the offer. But when you're planning your business, I could never get past how can I get to marketing when I wasn't even sure what my offer was, right? So I made sure that for my business and for my clients, that you got to know what your offer is, at least have an idea, because once it will change, it transforms itself as you offer it to people. Like, you won't really know what people really want until you start talking to people about what you have to offer, and then it transforms into what it was really meant to be. And that's where the freedom comes, but it doesn't come until you actually start offering that to people. So it's kind of, and especially for luminaries or people that are service-based, have service-based business and really want to serve people, you don't necessarily have a product in hand where you're what was I going to say? Where you're just peddling, a product like a widget or something. It's when you're serving somebody by helping them through consulting, coaching, even speaking, because you're selling something that's very intangible. And having tangible things to offer in the background of that is very beneficial. But I'm going to add Frank here. So let me get Frank on, because he's buzzing me to get in. Let's see, Frank.
But coming up with an offer as a luminary is like, so how do you sell light, right? I mean, how do you package that? How do you, how do you do that?
Right. Well, that's a great question. And, that's another topic for another day, but we'll talk about that, because we'll talk about that through masterminding, and that's one of the reasons as a luminary you really want to be with other people who understand what you're going through, and you really want to be with, okay, sorry about that, I got a little bit distracted. So I wanted to, when you mastermind as a luminary, it has a tiny bit of a difference, and it's not that much of a difference. Give yourself the space to go much deeper in the conversations that you have than to just listen to somebody say, well, you just do this. And you give yourself the permission to kind of step back and say, but does my heart really want to do that? Or does my soul really want to do that? Or does my business really want to do that? Does that serve my business? Does that serve my purpose? Because a lot of times, even within marketing, and we can get ourselves caught up into doing what other people think we should do, without asking those really vital questions that, as luminaries, we have to ask ourselves. If we don't, then we kind of get ourselves in a spin of creating things that aren't in alignment with our deeper selves. So that's where that comes in, I guess, in the conversation of masterminding as a luminary. And going from that, making an offer, preparing to profit, that's when, after you've prepared, you've got your marketing, you're magnetizing yourself to the right people, then there's this inspired action piece that is about you taking inspired action and you inspiring action in other people. And most of the time, that's just about you doing the thing that lights you up the most. When people see that you're doing what you are really put on earth to do, it is so attractive. I mean, do you agree about, do you agree that when like people see you lit up about your work, they know like, ah, that's fantastic. That person is really doing the thing that they're put on earth to do. They inspire me. I want to work with them. And so they come to you in an attractive, in an attractive vibe, like they are there with you. And then you have to get yourself into, I'm taking inspired action, and I'm going to inspire them to take action into enrolling in your programs, buying from you, or whatever it is the next step that, excuse me, that you want them to take. And that could just be signing up for your newsletter. And that could just be joining a hangout with you. That could just be having another conversation. It's really based on how you have set your business up. So that is what is that I. And that's sales. That's all that inspired action and taking inspired action is all about sales. Isn't that interesting? Like you think about sales and it's really about inspiration, not really about selling somebody something that they don't want.
That feels totally different.
Yeah, it's about meeting somebody at where they are inspired, and you don't want to work with somebody who's not inspired anyways. I don't. I love I love working with people who are like, oh my gosh, I somebody recommended you, and I'm so happy to. I'm like, yeah, all right, that's the kind of energy that I love to play with, because then you can help them so much. They're ready, they're open, and they've already said yes to themselves. It's as opposed to somebody who's already said no to themselves, and they're trying to wait for you to convince them to say yes, right? And that's kind of, that can happen too. And then that R, this is so important. I've been talking about this a lot this past week with, it just seems like everybody is hearing this for the first time, and I've been talking about it for years. The R in empire building is about results, but the way you get results is by honoring your time. And if you can imagine that your calendar is a sacred contract between you and your business, you and your life, you and your results, then kind of things transform, because you realize, like, you write things down in your calendar that you are, contracting with the universe, if you can imagine that you want to fulfill, or you want to do. So if you have a like say a program that you're starting, we'll talk about Frank's for a second, because he has a program. I think he's still offering it on Fridays, and his program is the pitch slap program. So he's going to help people create that pitch. So if you have this pitch slap program, or if you have whatever program it is and you're offering it, and I do this too, so I can use myself as an example too, and you are honoring your calendar by writing that on your calendar, like for Friday or all Fridays, and then you are committed then to focusing your energy on filling the program up there, as opposed to letting all of the people fill up your time all over your calendar, which I've done before. Like, you could be up in the middle of the night. You could be, taking phone calls, who knows when. But really, if people are really ready to work with you and they know the answer is yes, they will either take time out of their work day to sign up and enter your program, or they're going to ask you, when are you going to offer it at a time that they can come to it. And that is what I have found to be the truth. So, taking a deep breath. That last E in empire building is about expansion, and it's about engaging with your clients, and it's about expanding your offerings. It's about expanding your influence, within your business, and it starts within first before it goes without. So anytime you're trying to expand anything in your business, if you're trying to expand your list, you want to go to your current list first and let them know and ask them to share whatever you're doing with other people, because they're your power center. They already know who you are. They already love you, like you, and trust you. Hopefully you've created a great relationship with them. So expansion always starts from within your business and without, and I think people kind of get that confused too. You do it all right, and you're having yourself, and not all right, but if you give it a good shot, and you're expanding and you're making different offers, At that very end, there you get the bonus R, and that's about resting and receiving. If you know that you have something to offer, you're offering it, you're taking inspired action, you're honoring your calendar, you're expanding internally and moving, your business to new levels. It should be very easy, and you should be rewarded with lots of rest and lots of receiving those results that you're looking for. The money comes as a result of you resting and allowing it to come, not just beating on the door and looking for you know looking for more ways to get it. The attraction comes from understanding that the value is in you, and people are going to come to you because you have such great value to add and that you really care about your clients. So that is my whole spiel about empire building, and Mark says he is ready to answer the question about the luminary. So yeah, Mark, I'm ready. Ready to hear you.
And thank you for creating our empire acronym and walking us through that. That was great.
Oh, you're welcome.
Can you hear me? I just took the mute off again.
Yep, I can hear you.
Wonderful. Yeah, I really do feel like a luminary, and this weekend I had a particularly strong experience of it. I was performing a wedding. I'm a wedding officiant, both as a cantor and as a proud member of the Universal Life Church. And this was one of those. My daughter called me to do some sharing early in the morning, 7 o'clock, and she got so turned on by my feeling inspired about this. She spent about an hour and a half going over the ceremony I had created for these two people, because she's been to 8 weddings and she's of the age, where a lot of people getting married. It was just such an unexpected delight, and I have to say, when you were talking about when you take inspired action and when you are really in love with what you do, it's very attractive and people want to jump on and share. But that was really incredible, because she really did listen very carefully to what I was doing, both the presentation and the content, and made superb constructive criticism. I ended up with a razor blade taking much of it out. Anyway, I got to the wedding. I must have put about 6 hours into it, and all for a very short ceremony. I took 20 minutes and compacted it down to 9.
Right.
Unlike what I'm doing here right now, I might add. And the moment before I went up to do the ceremony, these folks walked in. I went, Mark, and I went, Dave, Hillary, wow. It turned out their kid had played with the groom since birth, practically.
Wow.
Completely different place in my life. And the reason I now knew them again was because I took inspired action one night and brought a group of people to see them in a Bob Dylan tribute band. This was 8 months ago. We kept together on Facebook, doing nice things for each other. At the end, they came up to me and said, well, now we know who's going to do our son's wedding.
Nice.
And all because they had, and they wouldn't have, except that they had also followed me on Facebook. So they knew the range of things I was capable of. Because they actually are Jewish, but they didn't think they'd ever have a rabbi who would be willing to marry the kid and someone who wasn't. It's a lengthy thing, but I mean, it's really, it's doing what I do, who I am, allowing the offer to be clear in what I do. And I've had this recently, both through getting clear about the offer through Frank's pitch building workshop, where people literally came up to me afterwards and said, now I get what you do. I mean, I can really understand that.
Yeah.
To just doing it really clearly and having people instantly respond. I was quite pleasantly shocked, I guess I would say. So I love what you said, that not only taking inspired action yourself, but that encourages other people to take inspired action. Thank you for that.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I love your story too, because and especially as luminaries, we are doing way more than just one thing. And like when I say like have one, it's like a linchpin offer, and everything kind of goes around that. But the truth is, like, as a luminary, you're doing lots of different things. You have lots of offerings, and it's okay to have lots of offerings, but which one is the one that you can get in front of people and kind of encompasses everything, right? I mean, it kind of just gives you that feel like this is really what I'm all about. And when you have that, and it's all about, you know, whatever it is, it's all about service to some, you know, greater purpose in life. And, you know, for me, it's about helping. My core value behind everything is to help people find and live their purpose. So everything goes around that, right? So my coaching programs are helping people discover who they are and discover really what moves them and how they can get themselves to take action. And my business building programs are the same thing, but it's in a business sense. And then, you know, like I've got other stuff too that's like, you know, really crazy. So, but it all comes down to, you know, really living authentically. So, yeah. The annoying buzz in the background, gosh, I'm not, if I thought that Andrea's thing was muted still, so I don't, if you're still hearing, oh, it's gone now. Okay, yeah, that was, I muted Andrea. So Frank, the topic of today's mastermind is masterminding for luminaries. So the question was, do you consider yourself a luminary? And that was how I opened it up, and then I was going to talk about how we can mastermind a little bit differently, a little more consciously as luminaries, as opposed to just being hard-driving entrepreneurs that have one single focus, which is profits, which is, you know, that's good, but allowing ourselves to go deeper into the conversation, deeper into awareness about what is really going on, because that's that is very powerful. So, Frank, do you think you are a luminary? That's the question. Are you a luminary?
Well, I just want to also, how do you define luminary?
Oh. Well, and I would say yes for you, but how I defined luminary was if you are somebody who's helping people light the path, a path from wherever they are to where they're wanting to be. So, like, if you have knowledge or insight to help somebody move and, you know, take the steps forward along their their path where they're going to get to some certain destination, then you are a luminary. And if you're doing it with conscious awareness and like a little more heart than what you would just by going through the motions, if you're really allowing yourself to be conscious of what you're doing, then I would consider yourself like an A+ luminary. But the luminary is just about getting somebody to move from where they are to where they want to be. And sometimes, you know, and sometimes we do that consciously, and sometimes we do it very unconsciously. So you consider yourself a luminary.
Yeah, I definitely do consider myself a luminary on several levels. In the business world, I try to be a luminary for folks and trying to get them to move from that point of what I have to offer is cliche versus what I have to offer is myself. And I also do ministry, and I try to be a luminary for my students. And I'm working on a book right now as well, so I'm trying to be a luminary in that way as well. But yeah, because my whole purpose that I feel like I was put on this earth for was to help people wake up and realize certain things about themselves. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm a luminary in that way, because I feel like my purpose is really helping other people. My purpose is not just out there chasing the almighty dollar. My purpose is to really light that towards people that says, hey, you're worthwhile. Hey, you are awesome. Hey, you are a business. Hey, you are a ministry. Hey, you are whatever it is that you're chasing after. You're already that.
Yeah.
Let's just make it more obvious to other people that you really see that in yourself as well.
Yeah, I like that. I love what you were just saying there, that, you know, that what you are illuminating is that the people are already their destination. You know, like you're just showing them that they're already who they want to be. So I think that that's really fantastic. And I love how you said that. And Mark wants everybody to play the prosperity game with Robert McPhee. And if everyone is not already doing it, he says, make sure that everyone's invited. And I have done that prosperity game. I used to have almost the exact prosperity game with my group. And I haven't done it in a long time, but I think it is really powerful. I think that's where I first met you, Mark, was on his Robert McPhee's prosperity forum on Facebook. So I think you're still muted. So the next question, though, I wanted to ask, because we're talking about being a luminary and masterminding as a luminary, and I had a couple of things that makes a luminary, like makes masterminding for luminaries really more in alignment with who we are. And one of the things is asking deeper questions. And I'm even going to ask Kathy to kind of help out with this, because you do this access bars thing, which is crazy. You know, I don't even know what it is, but it's about asking questions. And that's really what, when we go into being a luminary and being in a mastermind situation, we show up not with answers, we show up with deeper questions for people. And those deeper questions help them discover the answers for themselves. And that's really, really what coaching is. It's asking questions and asking people questions that illuminates who they really are. So in a mastermind situation, and as a luminary, as somebody who lights the path, you know, we're coming into a mastermind group. Maybe you're hosting one, and maybe you are a participant, but the luminary, the illuminated path would be to really ask a lot deeper questions to help every member of the mastermind group discover their own answer to the questions that you're asking. But you know, you might know the answer, and you might know that there's like a direct path, but if you're, you know, asking the right questions, it's just the same thing with children, you know, like raising children. You want to ask them questions instead of directing their path, and this is the only way we can create, you know, free thinkers. When we're telling our kids what to do all the time, they have no room to think for themselves. So being a luminary in a mastermind situation means we're asking questions. And I'm doing a lot of talking and telling you. But Kathy, what are some questions that you think, maybe from access bars or maybe from some of the stuff that you do, that would be great questions to ask in a mastermind situation, or even you're, you know, we'll just do it with the topic that you were questioning about, like for finding your offer. You know, I'm going to put this like right into your ballpark
right
there.
So in access, everything about access is all about being in the question all the time. Because whenever you come to a conclusion and you think you know something and you're not asking questions anymore, then you're not at choice anymore. You're totally, like, you've closed off. It's like quantum physics, like everything is possible until you choose, and then everything collapses into that one point. So once you think you know how it's supposed to be, then that's all you can ever experience, you know, about something. And like we were just having that conversation about me trying to figure out what my offer is, because I feel like I'm stuck at that point. Like everybody says, what's the transformation you offer? And I just go, I don't know. You know, I have no idea how to, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what people are getting from what I do, and I don't know how to put that in words to tell somebody else, and I don't know how to wrap that up into a package to sell it. But like the questions that I got this past weekend at a class were to add, and what you said to me, Dawn, was brilliant. Like, ask my soul what transformation it wants to offer. You know, and just ask that question, because I'm trying to think it instead of, you know, trying to come up with a conclusion instead of asking a question and letting an answer kind of float up to me for something. So asking, you know, I just took a 5-day class, and some of the questions that we were asking was, so if you have a product that you want to sell, ask your product how much it wants to be sold for, and let that kind of come to you, and instead of trying to think what people will pay you, because you have no idea what people are going to pay you or what they can pay or want to pay. I don't know, maybe I'm not answering your question.
No, I think this is great. I mean,
yeah. Those are just some questions that have come up lately that are just like much more expansive than trying to look at your demographics and who is your target market and blah 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 and try to think it out with logic. You know, we're talking about being luminaries, so we're talking about something so much more, you know, so much more expansive than our logic and what our brain knows and what numbers we can process. You know, we're accessing a totally different, I don't know, level of information or vibration of information or something than just logic.
Yeah, we're transcending, like we're transcending, you know, the illusion of the world.
Right, exactly. So we're trying to operate like in a totally different dimension here.
Yeah, and this is really important. I am trying to click on this, so my mouse is not working as effectively as I want it to today. But yes, as luminaries, we're asking ourselves to do things that not everybody else would be willing to do, and that is not letting, you know, the numbers, the research, and there's a place for numbers and research, and I just explained this to, you know, I can't remember who I was talking to, but they were talking about how much they love to use their intuition, and they also love logic, and they were so confused about, you know, when to use which, and I'm like, oh, I have an infographic about it, which I can't find right now, and it might have been Robin, she's not here. But the infographic was like, here's the, you know, when you're using your intuition, it's like that's the creative place to use your intuition. Like you're creating something new, and when you're creating something new, you're wanting to access like knowledge that's infinite, right? Infinite intelligence. You're wanting to get into that zone of all possibilities. And most people will go through and they'll create something new based on logic. Well, this is what we did in the past, this is what works in the past, so we have to do something very similar to this in the future, which is some baloney when you're, when you are really trying to be an expansive luminary and helping the world break free from these old patterns that really aren't serving us and really keep people in a vibration of fear, we'll just call that what it is, as opposed to letting them be free to be who they really are. And when the big business is operating with this creative intuition, then what happens is they take action, take the inspired action, they're inspiring people, and then they take, this is where the logic comes in, that's when you do the research based on what you're doing, you know, what's working and what you're doing, and where can you tweak and still having that direction go in the direction that your intuition had, you know, given you this idea, like this is the direction we're going. The logical thinking people, those, you know, the number crunchers, they will figure it out. They'll figure out a way to make the rest of it, you know, switch, because everything else has to switch into this new direction too. I know that that's kind of a big thing, but I'm going to show you. I'll see if I can find this infographic that I created. It was one of my little playground type of things, but it showed you like different systems, which systems that you use, and it was right after I wrote the chapter on intuition I created it, so I hope that helps. And if we can use our intuition and access that information, that bigger information when we're in that creative process, I think that is just amazing, and I'm glad that you shared those questions, Kathy.
Yeah, so I'm still asking all the questions, so I don't know how to bring out those answers because I'm still trying to squeeze them out of myself. So, you know, I'm still trying to come up with the right questions to ask so that I can see what it is I'm supposed to be doing. So, but here's
the one thing that I have known, and is don't give yourself such a hard time. I mean, this is for everybody. Like if you get an answer, usually the first answer is the one that has the most soul to it, and we'll just discount that first answer because we think, oh, it can't be that simple. Usually that's the answer. It can't be that simple. And so we go and we try to make it really complicated, and it's really, we get ourselves into a complicated cycle of creating some complex system when complex systems are created out of simple movements, you know, webbed on top of simple movements, not necessarily, you know, like the big system is created all at once. And I learned that from, gosh, I was listening to a podcast, and this guy, and I can't remember who would, oh, I wish I remembered who it was. I could give you his reference. But he talked about how, people talk about systems and how you have to have systems. He says, you can't have a system when you're first building your business because you don't know what system you're going to need until you start moving. And he says you just have to trust that what you're offering, that the offer and what you're doing and how you're serving people is going to show you what support it needs in order to sustain itself, and then that's how you go. So it is kind of a reactive way, but it's like it allows you to expand. So I'm going to see, Cameron, you got something going on over here on the sidebar. I'm going to have to peek over here and see what you've got going on. The school system. What's that?
I have a question for Kathy.
Yeah, go for it.
See, I have a reaction. When you just threw out that little nugget, ask your product what it wants to be sold for, I noticed a minor freak out in my head and my body.
Did you?
Yeah, I wanted to discuss it with all of you. The first thing that came up is, you'll choose a number, and then you'll have to just absolutely sell the shit out of it because that number will have no relation to the marketplace. It really, because we've been doing some work with Robert on finding your value and placing your value in the marketplace. And part of the things that I came up with was actually researching a couple of my markets, which are hard to or at least the other professional, hard to get real numbers. I'm very familiar with this concept. Joel Bauer, for example, has a very funny slide in one of his PowerPoint presentations where he says, how do you price your product? Where do people come up with the numbers? And then he has a guy standing there, his pants are down, and the numbers are coming out of his butt cheeks. He says, you pull the number out of your ass. And, I love that, and I thought it was great. Okay, maybe for an infomercial product or all those things, but for my service for, let's just go back to wedding services, for example, wedding officiants. It freaks me out to start thinking about pricing something just out of what my wedding service tells me it wants to charge.
But why is that? Why does that freak you out? Because you already have a limiting, like a limit in your mind of what you think it's worth.
Correct.
And so you're deciding for everybody else that this is all they'll be willing to pay you for something. Or maybe they'd be willing to pay you a whole lot more if you just offered it. Let them decide whether they want to pay it or not.
Actually, that's what happened with this wedding this weekend. I did let it decide itself. If I had thought about all of the indications that they would be in a different category, I would have thrown out another number, but I didn't. And they just said, yes, we really, we want you. Yes, that's your fee. Great. Okay. It took about a second for them to say yes.
Right.
I do get it. I'm just reporting what went on within me. Intellectually, I get the whole thing, and I love the fact that you just threw that in there as a tiny little tidbit for all of us. But I'd like us to chew on it for a few moments.
Yeah.
And, I guess the biggest reaction is, wow, you're going to be, you're not going to pay attention to what the marketplace really is. And the answer is no, the market for your services is unique. There's only one you. Friend of mine's a magician who performs for Wolfgang Puck. And one year for New Year's, Puck called him up and said, I'd like you to do the New Year's party. He said, okay, that'll be $3,000. And he said, what? You just charged me $1,500, for the last one. I said, yeah, but it's New Year's Eve, and there's only one of me, and that's what it costs. He said, okay. Because otherwise I stay home with my family. That's what it costs to have me move outside my house to do something that night.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay. And it wasn't audacious. It's the truth. It really was his truth. His family's very important to him. To give up that evening for work, it has to be that price. And since that's of great value to this gentleman, he said, sure, I'll do that. I mean, I get it. I needed to report that, like, wow, it's so important to share some of the stuff that comes up for us as we're doing a mastermind so we can all probably reflected some of that's going on with us and get rid of it. So thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Dawn.
And it helps me too to know that that actually helped you, because otherwise I feel like I'm just babbling and is this making a difference anywhere? Does anybody get it? So thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Kathy.
What Kathy just said really is something that I hear a lot from people, which is the whole thing of, I really need to hear from somebody else that what I said was actually valuable. I think we all struggle with that as entrepreneurs and as luminaries. So it was really cool to hear somebody else actually say what the thoughts that go through my head on a regular basis. So thank you for sharing that also.
Whoa. Magic. Whoa.
Hi, Andrea.
Are we all holding our breath?
Yeah, wondering what's going to happen next.
Yeah. and Dawn's out of control. She's sending, magic luminary vibes out through the Google Hangout system. Heal. Uh-oh. That's what happened. Dawn just disappeared. All right, it's up to us, guys. Let's all chant Dawn, Dawn, Dawn until she comes back. Or not. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, there's a taker. Great. Dawn, Dawn, come back to us now. We need your luminary to show us how. Or not. Well.
Or not. She'll be back.
Yeah, she'll be back. I count on it. 10, 9. I'm counting on it. 8, 7, 6. I love that, what you said, Cameron. That's great. This went from luminary to the Price is Right today.
Apparently.
Yeah. But it's all good.
You know what? That's actually something that I've personally been struggling with in my own business as well.
I saw that from your chat.
Is ending up charging too little for what my product is actually worth.
Yeah.
I was actually
really clear for you, Frank. That was your special introductory price. That was the launch. That was friends and family only once, and now we're into the real thing.
Right.
So,
yeah. I
even send out to everybody who attended, congratulations. You were lucky enough to be in phase 1, or even in the pre-launch phase. And thanks to everybody for your participation. It's now all tuned up and ready to go thanks to you. And I'm pleased to announce the real price. So look yourself in the mirror. Congratulate yourself for saving hundreds of dollars by being the first in.
Yep.
And if you'd like to repeat, I'm going to now give you the, half the new price. And for anybody you bring in, blah, blah, blah. But here's the new, brand new, shined up, ready to go pitch band or whatever it is, product price, investment, whatever you want to call it. I think that use this opportunity to launch it.
Say again?
I just use this opportunity to launch it. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's absolutely where I'm at this point. I've got to the point where I've sat down, figured out the numbers with a friend of mine. I actually spitballed it with a buddy of mine who's in sales. And I said, look, what is what I offer worth? I want to know from his perspective specifically. And he said, well, for me, it'd be worth 4 of my commissions. I'm like, why 4? He goes, well, I sell about 20 a month, so if you can help me get 10 more or whatever in a year, then that's worth 4 of those to me. I'm like, all right, fair enough. So we've been passing that number back and forth, trying to figure out an exact. But we'll be launching that very, very soon.
When you say we'll be launching it, what are you launching?
Oh, we'll be launching the elevator pitch, the mindset series I was talking about. I think I briefly told you about it, but yeah, we were trying to figure out a pricing structure for that. But
you got a big read from Dina on the other side of the room. So
awesome.
I think we're both enrolled.
Excellent.
That circles back to what we were talking about before about asking questions, and the whole I thought the genius of what you were doing with the elevator pitch was teaching a process instead of, crafting clever words. Ah, Dawn, we were chanting for your reunion, re-emergence, revival of Dawn.
We were chanting for you for a while, Dawn.
Yes, yes.
Dawn, Dawn, Dawn.
Yeah.
Well,
you can watch the video later.
Right. I had to exit and leave and come back, but you know what? I just knew you guys would be rocking and rolling without me, so it's all good.
We just kept going.
Indeed.
And I see Chris Vogelman's on the outside. He said something about roast beef. And this is a test, so he's watching. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Christopher. Oh, okay. So did we talk about the last thing that I had mentioned here? We were talking about asking the deeper questions, and what about collective, like using our collective intuition to tap into the bigger picture of what's going on? I mean, do we do that in are you masterminding in that way, like helping people understand the bigger picture? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm not I'm masterminding with you all.
Yeah, you're masterminding.
No, I was just thinking today that how awesome it is that we have, Google Hangouts and stuff like this, because I can't really find a whole lot of people around in my area that can understand what I'm talking about. Like, there's not very many people that I have really found that I can carry on a conversation like this with, because they just don't understand. They don't understand the luminary aspect. They don't understand the healing aspect. They don't understand the bigger picture dimensional aspect. They don't understand business. They don't understand all this stuff. So
I'm excited. I just found a niche market for myself.
What's that?
Or another service to add. I'm going to be Kathy's interpreter.
Oh yeah.
Interpreter?
Yeah, call me up and for a small price I'll translate what you're saying to people who don't understand.
Oh, okay. To the people in Flint, yeah, they're gonna need it. They don't. Yeah.
So you're going to be the only English to English interpreter ever?
Yes, exactly. We get you, Kathy.
Good, thank you.
And if we're here, there must be more of us someplace.
Yeah,
right.
There must be a ton of us.
Many. Many.
Yeah, because sometimes we want to go deeper. So like as luminaries, like we want to find out not just, why we're doing what we're doing, why are we creating this offer, but like how does our business impact the world? That's a great question. Like, how does what you're doing impact the greater good of of everyone, and how does your business, and sometimes just having a reflective, like, tapping into that collective intuition is what I called it, and being able to reflect back to somebody like, I think I can see how your business does this, and whatever it is that you're inspired to share with somebody. And I think as luminaries, we have access to much more, crevices of our mind. I think maybe we use our mind more, and I'm not saying that everybody's not using their mind, but we're definitely you're tapping into that collective consciousness, the collective intuition. And infinite intelligence is what Napoleon Hill talked about, and that's what I really believe. We're tapping into that greater pool of intelligence that's available. And when we're getting like when you're in a masterminding group with people, you get intuitive insights for everybody in the mastermind. And as a luminary and masterminding as luminaries, we find ways to share what's coming to us, what we're inspired to share, what you're sensing in a way that is non-threatening, in a way that if we're in a group of other luminaries, they can say, oh yeah, I get that, thank you for sharing that, or and it could be very profound, and it could just be something very simple, but giving ourselves permission to really share what our intuition is giving us. It's not based on our previous experiences, and it's not based on something that we've seen happen in the marketplace, but it's really based on what's coming to us from higher sources. So I think that that's something else that is worth saying and mentioning when we're talking about masterminding as luminaries, really giving ourselves permission to share intuitively. Yeah, that's my thoughts. You guys have any thoughts about that?
No, I agree. And what we happened, let's see, quite a bit ago in the chat, Kathy had said, "Stay on topic, Mark," but she did it with like 5 exclamation points. I just kind of intuitively knew it wasn't like a criticism. I was like, yeah, you're ADD, get the fuck out of the group. It was more like, come on, man, stay with us. And I immediately returned in the chat, not using the word luminary so I could tie back in what I had said. But more importantly, I said, thanks for the reminder. And it was that recognition that somebody is there offering guidance and direction and encouragement, not criticism and nitpicking and that kind of stuff. And that is the wonderful thing that happens in a group of like-minded people where we've set an intention. Let's be here for each other. Let's brainstorm. Let's hold each other harmlessly during the time. And so that was that little side play that went on maybe a half hour ago, and it bonded me even deeper to the group at that moment. It was really sweet. Oh, I got a sound effect in the background. Dina went, oh. How sweet. Yeah. So for what I just wanted to pick up on that point that you had made a few moments ago, that how the way we interact in this mastermind can be very powerful on those small things that you really let in what other people are saying and take it in deeply and take it in the spirit it's meant.
Yeah, definitely. And
I miss Kathy already. And
I do too.
Look at that. Cameron just went to Venice, so that's so cool.
That's awesome that he's traveling around the world.
He traded his pirate ship for a weekend in Venice.
Yeah. So here's a question. This is a mastermind group. I want to end us up with. I'm going to stop the broadcast, I think, because the rest of this can be very private. Because I want us to be in a good. Glad you're back, Kathy. In an environment where we can, really get into that depth of the hot seat, if you will, if anybody needs that kind of support. And then sharing like the great goods that have happened this week. And we didn't do that at the beginning because we were all coming in at different times. But
yes.
What's kind of do it. And I'm going to actually time us this time, so we'll have like a little 1 minute to share what is great this week. And if you have something that you need help with, just ask, and we are here as a mastermind to help. But you know what? For the rest of you, everybody who's watching from the outside, I'm going to say goodbye. See you next time. And if you want to join the mastermind and be a part of this inside final part, then you got to join on the inside and join us next week. So
before you turn off the recording,
yeah,
I'd just like to thank Cameron again and our discussion last week for the thought right before we go to sleep. 1, review all the things you're about to do. You're going to do the next day, and 2, ask a question of your subconscious mind and allow the intuition to work all through the night. I found that particularly helpful this week because it was a great reminder. I didn't get any answers, but I just found it great that I was doing it before going to sleep. And I mean that sincerely. I didn't have any grand ahas, but I also felt like I was just pointing myself in the right direction and everything would unfold as a result of that. And I didn't even need to be wildly conscious of an aha moment during the next day. So to Cameron and to you and to everybody who participated last week, thank you for that.
Yeah, good. I love that too.
Now you can shut it down.
Okay. Well, bye everyone.
Bye.
All right. And for us,